Hi guys, today I'm going to be doing the $10 art supply challenge. This challenge basically is you get $10 worth of art supplies, but you do not go over the budget. Using those art supplies, you then make a picture out of them using them. Things that are not included in the budget are fine liner pens, brushes, and gel pens, but everything else does add to the budget. This challenge was made by my favorite YouTuber, Emily Artful. You should definitely check her out and hit that subscribe button. I will put a link down in the description for her channel and her Instagram. Now, without further ado, let's get down to the challenge.
Two other things I decided not to include in the budget was tax, because you can't help if it goes over the budget, and the cost of paper, because most likely if you're an artist you will probably have paper as well. So the colors I chose were Satin Sky, which is the lighter blue, Satin Egg, which is the kind of white, Pink Frosting, which I think you know what color it is, Satin Chocolate, and as well as Satin Cornflower, which is the darker blue. These paints cost $2 per bottle, so I was only able to get 5 colors without going over the budget. To save time, I did not record the process of me drawing the picture before I put it onto the page, but if you guys do want to know how I do draw my portraits, let me know in the comments. The first thing I noticed was that it said it was homemade acrylic, so I definitely could tell it was probably not going to be quote-unquote real acrylic. I also noticed on the label the different surfaces this could be painted on, and that you had to wait an hour for it to dry in between layers, which I don't really think that's true, because most of my paint says that and I never wait an hour. Listening back to this recording, I'm not sure why I said it was homemade acrylic. I meant to say handmade. Sorry about that. The first thing I noticed when I first started painting was that the consistency was not as thick as quote-unquote real acrylic. It was a lot thinner, and in all honesty, the consistency was almost of craft paint. Now, if you look on most craft paint bottles, it will say that they're acrylic paint, which is true, craft paint is acrylic paint, but quote-unquote real acrylic paint is a lot thicker. And yes, acrylic paint dries fast, but it does not dry as fast as craft paint does, and it's a lot easier to blend. Another thing about quote-unquote real acrylic paint is that it kind of has a plasticky-like consistency, and when it dries it almost looks plasticky in a way. I noticed when I was painting it had a more matte kind of format. It did not seem shiny or plasticky in any sort of way, which I was a bit frustrated about because there was a ton of craft paint at Target, but I ended up getting this acrylic paint in hopes that it would have the consistency, or at least something like real acrylic paint. The reason why I'm frustrated is that craft paint is a lot cheaper. It ranges from like 50 cents to $1 and nothing more than that, and I spent $2 on this paint, which in all reality I could have ended up getting double my color palette and more variety of colors. Now, just now in the previous scene you did see I had a bit of trouble opening the lid up. That is because I could tell as soon as I opened the lid that it was on the shelf for a while. The paint was probably on the shelf for a while because it almost was dry and it was kind of plasticky and really hard to pull off, which I was kind of mad that I spent $2 on this. I wish it would have been more fresh, but I do realize that most people probably do not buy paint from Target. I did at first look for art supplies in Hobby Lobby, but I quickly realized that lots of their supplies are meant for artists. They're not supposed to be cheap, so I ended up going to Target for a cheaper variety of supplies. I actually was pretty close to Michael's as well, but I decided not to go there because I just didn't feel like it and I was being lazy. So that's a mistake on my part. Now, earlier, I'm not sure if I've done this already in the video, I can't tell, but I added the satin blue, I think that's what it's called, the lighter blue, into the eyes, the whites of the eyes, because in painting, you always have to put a bit of gray into the eyes, and since I do not have a gray, I decided to use the white blue as the sort of gray. And the reason why you have to add gray into the whites of the eyes is because the whites of the eyes are not a true white, and it would look almost unnatural in the picture. Now, I'm using the darker blue to add some highlights into the hair, and I'm opening the brown up and probably going to use it for her hat and her outfit. And something that made me quite frustrated was when I opened the creamy white. I think it's called satin egg. I'm just too lazy to look in my art area and find what the exact color is called. I'll just call it a creamy white. When I opened the container, it actually made me really mad because it had the same consistency of that one blue paint. It wouldn't open. I actually had to end up using my tweezers that I used to pluck my eyebrows with and open the sealant because it was so old that it was starting to turn hard. I don't know why I said hard. I could have said hardened. Sorry, I can't speak right now. Anyway, it was making me really frustrated that I spent $2 on this, and in all reality, the bottles aren't even that big. I probably could have gotten a lot more in a craft paint bottle, but I was like, no, I already have craft paint. I want to use something that's different, something that I do not have. And I was like, oh look, handmade acrylic. Maybe it probably won't exactly be like the exact same consistency of real acrylic, but maybe it'll be close. It's not close at all. It's literally craft paint. It makes me a bit upset that I could have had more colors and decided not to do that. This $10 art supply challenge is actually harder than I thought it was going to be, because when I went to Hobby Lobby, I was trying so hard to find stuff that I wanted to use, and I couldn't buy it because it was about $10 or $15 over the budget. And I actually didn't think it would be that hard to choose cheap art supplies, but the problem was the art supplies I wanted weren't cheap. So when I did go to Target, it was really hard choosing the colors that I did because I wasn't sure which colors would work the best. The reason why I chose the blue, the dark blue, and the lighter blue was I decided I would use it for the hair. And then the reason why I got the brown and the white was because I figured I could use it to mix some skin tones, and then use the brown by itself just to add some shadows and stuff. I also figured with a white, I can mix it with other colors and make lighter colors at least. And then finally, I think I just got the pink because I was like, well, I might as well have some pink. I'll add it to the lips or something. I'm honestly glad that we're allowed to use gel pens and the fine point pens to fix this up, because I honestly did not like how it looked and I was kind of relying on the fine point pen to make it look better. And personally, I think the fine point pen did make it better and kind of saved this piece a bit. I'm also glad that I did not use paper, like buy paper and put it into my budget, because if I got nice paper, I would have wasted it, because I don't think this is the best piece I've done. I'm not saying it's bad necessarily, but I do think I could do a lot better if I did have a better quality paints for one, and a higher selection, more selection, I guess you could say. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, or at least got an idea. I know this isn't the best piece you've seen me do, but I definitely did think it was a challenge, and I think it did make me better an artist as a way, because it taught me how to utilize my materials. Anyway, please like and subscribe, comment down below if you have any suggestions, and don't forget to take it easy.